I grew up in a Christian home, a pastor's kid of all things. And I can remember that following Jesus as I was growing up seemed like nothing more than a list of don'ts. And the reality is that a lot of the things on that list I wanted to do. As an adult, everything got reversed. The following Jesus thing, it seemed like a list of things I had to do, and it was a long list. There were all these expectations. See, you need to be a godly father and a godly husband, and you need to be a spiritual leader in your home, whatever that means. And then you're supposed to be a businessman that's ethical. Oh, and then you need to serve God in the church, teach this, lead that. The list seemed endless, exhaustive, and exhausting. It was completely unmanageable, and quite frankly, totally undoable. It sounded more like bondage than it did freedom. Coming to a clearer understanding about what it means to be free in Jesus, let's just say that was a process. Maybe it's because I'm a slow learner. But the important thing to remember is the list didn't go away, but how I looked at that list changed dramatically. You see, it used to be a list, a checklist, quite frankly, a checklist of things I had to do. And now I use it as a check-up list. In other words, it's a list of things that tell me how I'm doing or how my relationship is doing with God. You see, when those things, the Bible calls them the fruits of the Spirit, when those things show up in my life, it's evidence that my relationship with God is in a good place. It's where it needs to be. And it's an awesome reminder that God's at work in my heart, because I can remember that I couldn't do all those things, or any of them, on my own. And then when those things on that list are conspicuously absent from my life, it tells me that it's time for action, but it's not time for behavior modification. It's time to focus on the one thing, the most important thing, and that's my relationship with Jesus. I need to repent. I need to turn away. I need to get back on the same page as God. You see, I'm free to focus on the one thing that changes everything. So how's it going now? It's an awful question, because I'd like to sound, after being all thoughtful, I'd like to pretend like things are good and that I've got it all together. The reality is that I'm in a transition point in my life. I ended a 30-year IT career, and I'm moving into an area of work that I believe God's called me to and gifted me for. But that transition involves changing virtually everything, from finances to family relationships, and everything in between those two things. However, that checkup list is telling me things aren't where they need to be. I need to be focusing more on my relationship with God. I need to get some of those things in order. The freeing thing is I know where to apply my energy. I need to know where to apply my focus. And there is nothing more liberating than knowing that if you focus on the one thing, everything has changed for the